Transformational leadership. It's not just a buzzword, it's a paradigm shift that's reshaping how we think about guiding organizations and inspiring people. Today, we're diving deep into this powerful concept that's turning traditional notions of leadership on their head.
Oh, that's fascinating. I've been hearing a lot about transformational leadership lately, but I'm not sure I fully grasp what sets it apart. Can you break it down for us?
Absolutely. At its core, transformational leadership is about creating lasting, positive change, not just in an organization, but in the lives of the people you lead. It's a leadership style that prioritizes the needs of others over personal interests, focusing on fostering growth and development in both the leader and their team members.
That sounds like a pretty tall order. What are some of the key traits that define a transformational leader?
Well, there are several crucial characteristics. Emotional maturity is a big one. These leaders have a remarkable ability to stay calm under pressure and manage their emotions effectively. They're like the eye of the storm, providing stability when everything around them is chaotic. But it's not just about keeping cool, they also demonstrate humility in both success and adversity.
That's really interesting. I can and see how that kind of emotional stability would be invaluable in a leader. What about intelligence? How does that factor into transformational leadership?
Great question. Intelligence plays a significant role, but it's not just about being book smart. Transformational leaders are thoughtful and learn from their experiences and others. They use that knowledge to make effective decisions. It's more about wisdom and emotional intelligence than raw IQ.
So it's really about applying knowledge in a meaningful way. Now, I've heard that transformational leaders have this sort of magnetic quality. Can you elaborate on that?
Absolutely. This is what we call a dynamic personality. Transformational leaders have this ability to draw people in and inspire them. They understand different personality types like promoters, analyzers, controllers, and supporters, and use that knowledge to communicate effectively and build strong relationships. It's not about being the loudest in the room, but about having the ability to connect with and motivate diverse groups of people.
That's fascinating. It sounds like being a transformational leader requires a deep understanding of human nature. But it's not just about personality, right? Vision plays a crucial role too, doesn't it?
You're spot on. Vision is what sets the direction and inspires others to follow. It's not just about seeing what's in front of you, but having insight, foresight, and farsight. Transformational leaders have this unique ability to paint a picture of a better future that others want to be a part of. They can articulate their vision in a way that energizes and motivates their team.
That's really powerful stuff. But let's be real for a moment. No leader is perfect. How do transformational leaders handle their own flaws and mistakes?
Well, that's where flexibility comes in. These leaders are adaptable and recognize their own flaws. But instead of letting those flaws derail them, they use wisdom to navigate challenges without compromising their integrity. It's about being human while still striving for excellence. They're not afraid to admit when they're wrong, and they use their mistakes as opportunities for growth and learning.
That's so important. It's easy to put leaders on pedestals, but acknowledging imperfections can make them more relatable and trustworthy. Now, I'm curious about how transformational leaders approach things like commitment and competence.
Great point. For transformational leaders, commitment is all about consistent action. It's not just talking the talk, but walking the walk day in and day out. As for competence, it's essential for achieving excellence and inspiring others. But it's not about being perfect, it's about continuous improvement and growth. They set high standards for themselves and their teams, but they also provide the support and resources needed to meet those standards.
That makes a lot of sense. It sounds like transformational leadership is as much about personal development as it is about leading others. Are there any other key traits we should touch on?
Definitely. Discernment is a big one, the ability to understand complexities and evaluate situations effectively. It leads to better decision making. And then there's focus, knowing how to prioritize strengths and delegate in areas of weakness. Transformational leaders are also incredibly generous. They prioritize people over possessions, investing their resources, time, money, energy in meaningful causes and in mentoring others.
Those are crucial skills. I'm struck by how much emphasis is placed on generosity in this leadership style. It reminds me of some great leaders I've known who always seemed to have time for others, no matter how busy they were. Now, we can't talk about leadership without mentioning courage. How does that fit into the transformational model?
Courage is absolutely essential. It's what allows these leaders to address challenges head on and lead effectively. But it's not just about being fearless, it's about having a tested resolve and the ability to face fears. It's about doing what's right, even when it's difficult. Transformational leaders are willing to take calculated risks and stand up for their beliefs, even in the face of opposition. And
That's powerful, and I imagine it ties into passion as well, right? That fire that drives leaders forward.
exactly. Passion is the fuel that keeps transformational leaders going. It's what drives them toward their goals and inspires others to achieve greatness. Without passion, it's hard to maintain the energy and commitment needed for this kind of leadership. But it's not just about having passion, it's about being able to ignite that same passion in others, creating a shared sense of purpose and excitement.
I can see how all these elements work together to create a truly impactful leader. But let's talk about something that affects everyone, leader or not attitude. How important is that in transformational leadership?
Attitude is absolutely crucial. A positive attitude shapes perceptions and outcomes. It's about believing in yourself and your vision, even when faced with obstacles. Transformational leaders understand that their attitude sets the tone for their entire team. They maintain optimism and resilience, even in challenging times, which helps to create a positive and productive work environment.
That makes a lot of sense. It's like the old saying, attitude is everything. Now, I'm intrigued by the mention of mental laws in leadership. Can you elaborate on that?
Sure thing. Understanding mental laws, like the law of practice and the law of expectation, can really enhance leadership effectiveness and personal growth. For example, the law of practice reminds us that skills improve with repetition, while the law of expectation suggests that our beliefs about outcomes can influence those outcomes. Transformational leaders use these principles to cultivate a growth mindset in themselves and their teams, fostering an environment of continuous improvement and positive expectations.
That's fascinating. It really highlights the psychological aspects of leadership. Speaking of which, how important is it for transformational leaders to set the right example?
It's absolutely critical. Leaders must model the values they wish to instill in others. It's about walking the talk and fostering a culture of integrity and trust. When leaders live their values, it creates a powerful ripple effect throughout the organization. This is where the concept of leading by example really comes into play. Transformational leaders don't just tell their teams what to do, they show them through their own actions and behaviors. And
That makes perfect sense. Now, we can't talk about leadership without mentioning communication. How do transformational leaders approach this essential skill?
communication is key for transformational leaders. They need to articulate their vision clearly, listen actively, and engage with their teams. It's not just about giving orders, it's about creating a dialogue and ensuring everyone is on the same page. They're skilled at adapting their communication style to different audiences and situations. They also understand the importance of nonverbal communication and are adept at reading and responding to the unspoken cues in their environment.
That's so important. Clear communication can make or break a leader's effectiveness. Now, we've covered a lot of ground here. As we wrap up, what would you say is the key takeaway for our listeners about transformational leadership?
Well, I think the key takeaway is that transformational leadership is about creating lasting, positive change, not just in an organization, but in the lives of the people you lead. It's about having a vision, inspiring others, and fostering growth at every level. It's challenging, but incredibly rewarding. It requires a combination of emotional intelligence, strategic thinking, and a genuine commitment to the growth and well being of others. Transformational leaders don't just manage, they inspire, they innovate, and they create environments where people can thrive and achieve their full potential.
Beautifully said. And I think that's a perfect note to end on. Thank you all for joining us as we explored the fascinating world of transformational leadership. Until next time, keep growing, keep leading, and keep transforming.